Okay, so allow me once again to welcome everybody on our today's webinar. And with the introduction, my name is Brian Amaniteri, and I'm working with Opportunity International Ed Finance as a community events and learning associate. I'm based in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. So I think on the first slide, I think I want to introduce you into housekeeping. So just to remind everyone that we going to have a live interpretation into two languages, French and Spanish. So feel free to twist in any language of your preference, but also remember to feel free to use the chat box for any questions or comments during the sections, and we'll be addressing them accordingly. But the final of but not least is that we are going to record this section. The whole section will be recorded, and we'll be share the video and slides after the event. So please, I hope this is okay for everyone. Now, I go straight to the open remarks, which allow me to welcome on stage Ms. Robina Zawende, our school financing assist manager, all the way from Nigeria right now, but she's based in Kampala, Uganda. So I hope, Robina, you can hear us and allow me to give you this mic to you. Welcome, Robina.
I think Ms. Robina might be having some technical challenges. So Ms. Rachel Table, do you mind doing us the honors?
Yeah, maybe in the absence of Robina, I just want to say a really warm welcome everybody who's joined us on the webinar today. We have a really exciting lineup of panelists who our moderators Julius and Prachi will introduce in a minute, and a very exciting webinar topic, why education finance matters, voices from the field. And I think in this webinar, we'll really understand why we are all here, why we do what we do, whether we're from a financial institution, investor, NGO like ourselves, or have a personal interest in this topic. So really looking forward to it, and a big thank you for everyone who's made the time to join. I think we'll start by setting the scene a little bit by hearing directly from the voice of one of our clients at Opportunity International, a school that has worked with us, a school leader, Miss Innocent, who's the proprietor of a nursery and primary school in Uganda, and she'll share her story on the impact of access to training and finance on her school's growth.
Amazing, amazing. So I think that video really made a very good foundation for us to begin. And without now, let me allow me to welcome on stage our very own moderators of today's sessions, starting with Mr. Julius Emmanuel, our Senior Technical Assistance Advisor for Africa, who is based in Kampala, Uganda, but he also co-moderating with Ms. Prachi Kumar, our School Finance Assist Lead, and she's based in India. So allow me to give you this mic, Mr. Julius. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Good evening, good morning to our audience, wherever you are. My name is Julius Omoding, and it's a pleasure to be here to moderate this session with my colleague Prachi. Prachi, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Julius, for introducing me. Very excited about this webinar, and a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, today as we discuss why education finance matters, we have a very impressive list of panelists who are going to be sharing with us information both from the private sector, the government sector, and also practitioners in the education field. Please allow me first and foremost to introduce to you Mr. Richard Amuzu, who is the Technical Assistance Advisor for Opportunity International based in Ghana. Richard, you want to say hello?
Yes, Mr. Omodi, thank you very much. And hi to everyone. I'm happy to be on the call. My name is Richard Amuzu, as the moderator has said, and I'm looking forward to an exciting discussion today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Secondly, and still from Ghana, we have Dr. Aisha who is a regional chairperson for the Ghana Association of Private Schools and also a CEO of a school that she runs. Dr. Aisha, you want to unmute and say hello? Okay, Dr. Aisha, are you there? Okay, we shall come to Dr. Aisha shortly, just in case she might be experiencing a few technical changes or challenges, sorry. We also have with us from India, Dr. Kublushan Sharma. He's the president of the Independent Schools Alliance based in India. Dr. Sharma, do you want to unmute your microphone and say hello to the audience today?
Hello, I think I'm back on.
Awesome, awesome. Dr. Aisha, it would be good for you to say hello to our audience. Do you want to unmute, put on your camera, sorry, and greet your audience this afternoon?
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, I think I have been disabled from your end, but I hope you can hear me. As Julia said, my name is Aisha Asi Akrofi from Ghana, the Greater Accra Regional Chairperson for NAPS, and also the Chief Executive Officer of Prima Academy. I've been in the education space for over 2 decades now. And yes, I'm excited to be part of this conversation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aisha. Dr. Sharma, are you available to unmute and speak at the moment as well? Just to greet your audience before we get into the main meat of the discussion this afternoon. And maybe as we wait for Dr. Sharma to join, we also have a distinguished gentleman from Uganda, Dr. George Mutekanga, who is the Commissioner of Private Schools and Institutions at the Ministry of Education and Sports in Uganda. Doctor, would you like to unmute and greet the audience this evening? Maybe put on your camera.
Sure, yes. Oh, my camera is on, but I'm sorry I have been late. I've been delayed. My name is George Mutekanga. I'm happy to be part of the conversation, and I wish to welcome everybody on board. Sorry for the delay. We had some internet challenges. Today was an election day in Kampala, and sometimes when we are having elections, the internet goes off. It is on and off in Africa. So where I am, at least I'm trying to use another alternative. That's why I've delayed to join you, but I've joined you. Thank you very much for accepting us, and very sorry for the delay. May God bless you.
It's well. Thank you, Doctor. And
Yes.
before we start, you've actually said something very important, and I'd like to apologize. I know in many parts of Africa, we start with a word of prayer. Father, in the name of
Yes.
Jesus, we thank you for today. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for our panelists and everybody who has joined. May this be edifying to each and every one of us. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Okay, Dr. Sharma, are you able to unmute and say hello before I invite Prakshi to get us rolling?
Am I audible now?
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
sir, you are.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you. Good evening to all. My name is Dr. Kulbhushan Sharma. I am from India and I am the National President of National Independent Schools Alliance. This is the largest organization of the private school of the world, in which more than 1 lakh schools are the members, and we are improving their quality, and we are fighting for their quality and advocacy also in the India.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
sir.
go on, Prakshi.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for the introduction and a very warm welcome to all our esteemed panelists and participants. So just to set the context further and take our discussion further, our goal today is to learn directly from school leaders who are on Our goal today is to learn directly from school leaders who are on the front line of education in their communities. We have with us three incredible panelists who have dedicated their careers to supporting education in their countries and communities, and they have been championing the voices of affordable budget private schools. So today we will be hearing from them about the challenges that the school leaders face and how tailored financial solutions are working in practice. We will also discuss what we as financial institutions, NGOs, investors, and other stakeholders can do better to support their growth, which will in fact increase access to quality education. So I would like to start the discussion by first asking Mr. George his views. So Uganda has the second youngest population in Africa, second only to Niger, with huge demand and need for education as a result. As a representative of the government, what role do you see private schools playing in the education sector to help educate this young population? Mr. George, over to you, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam. Surely Uganda actually has the fastest and youngest growing, it's the fastest, youngest growing nation in Africa. We have over 50 million children, 50 million people, and out of these, 30% are below or are school going age. And government institutions and public schools are very few compared to what we expect. And following the universal primary education and universal secondary education, so we were overwhelmed in 2007 when we started this program of USE. When we had started the UPE in 1995-97, we had about only 2.5 million children in school. But as we talk now, we have over 15 million children in school, and we with no government public structures. So the only solution was we introduced the PPPP arrangement, private-public partnership, and it's this private-public partnership that brought on board most private secondary schools that were giving support to government to ensure that the children that started in primary, in university education, continue with their university education in secondary. However, this program had issues and has had challenges. The first one, of course, has been the funding. With time, the government could not afford to maintain the tuitions, and therefore the program almost had to hit a hard end. Now, it is after this program that we came up with the private schools and institutions department, which have been supervising and taking charge of. And I'm proud to say we have done very well in secondary. We have done well in ECD. That is the early, because when I was in Ghana, I'm happy my colleague from Ghana is here. That's when I realized that we need to, in Uganda, we used to start primary education at the age of 6. But when I was in Ghana 2 years ago, that's when I realized that for them, they start at year 3. So every child who is in year 3 to 6, according to us, is private. Because according to the government policy, it is from 6 years to above that the government can pay for you. So that's why we have a child. So all ECD centers in Uganda are private. And that's why we have the biggest number of children going to school. And that's why we have different parents supporting us. But the problem now is with the primary. Primary, because of UPE, people think UPE is primary, universal primary education. Now, our biggest concern has always been, how do we support government? Yet government says it is free education, generally free. And yet there's nothing for free. Because government cannot pay for the teachers, and therefore it cannot provide the infrastructure, because our concern has been the teachers, the infrastructure, and now of recent, the curriculum. We have introduced a new curriculum, which is competence-based curriculum, which is skill-based. It requires a lot of resources, a lot of time, and a lot of energy, which we lack. But the private sector is trying to support us, but without money. So our biggest concern now, of course, is the financing. And that's why I will come up with solutions. And the first solution, of course, will be, how do we support the private sector to continue supporting the government of Uganda?
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your insights and especially for underlining the huge role that affordable private schools play in ensuring that every child gets access to good quality education. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Just to take the discussion further, sir, I would like to ask Dr. Aisha about her inspiration. Ma'am, I would like to ask you, that private schools in many African countries are mushrooming and growing, and yet many proprietors and school leaders, they complain about multiple challenges such as lack of funds and other frustration. So in this scenario, why do you seemingly have this drive in a space that many feel government should be taking the lead? So ma'am, we would love to hear what is your inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My drive in this space comes from a clear reality that government cannot do it
Government
alone.
cannot do it alone.
And education works best when all stakeholders, key stakeholders for that matter, play their role. In Ghana today, private schools constitute about 30% or more of basic education operators, especially at the early childhood and basic levels. And so, whether we like it or not, private schools are no longer peripheral, they are central to the survival of the education system in Ghana. Um, Let me touch a little bit on assets. So, many of these private schools emerged not because proprietors were chasing profits or they wanted to do business, but because communities were underserved, and in some of these areas there are no public schools nearby, and so individual private people stepped in to provide schools for these kids. So it's basically for children to be in school, and for some of these schools no fees is charged at all. It's mainly more of a social intervention kind of thing. And then also to ensure that no children are left behind. Um, like I said earlier on, also when it comes to Ghana, parents increasingly want to access private schools because when it comes to the private schools, there's clear supervision, um, better teacher monitoring, and then the learning environments respond quickly to children's needs. And and so parents will always want to take their children to private schools first. But this demand did not come out of nowhere. It actually reflects the gaps that parents perceive in the system. And so private schools in Ghana play a critical role. Also, for me personally, I remain committed despite the frustrations. My school, for instance, was born out of passion and not convenience. At that time, when we started several years ago, public schools were not close by. And even those that were in existence at that time did not have early childhood education in the community. And so we felt strongly that children deserve quality education close to home, especially in their formative years. So that conviction still drives me on. And yes, many proprietors struggle with funding, with staffing, with training and retaining teachers, and even sustaining um, their schools. But then retreating is not the answer. We cannot say that government should handle it alone because education is a shared responsibility. And private schools have also proven um, they are willing to share this part. My advocacy through NAPS is therefore not replacing government. No, it's about partnership, it's about recognition and structured support so that thousands of private schools educating Ghanaian children can do so sustainably responsibly, and with quality at the center of it all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aisha. And it was interesting to hear from Dr. George Mutekanga telling us that all the ECD in Uganda is private. Wow. So that actually leads me to Dr. Sharma. India is one of the world's most populous countries, and yet education has been discussed as the drive towards a lot of the industrialization, the technology advancements, and the growth, especially in the technical and vocational space. What has been the biggest growth area for the private education space in India, and how are they providing quality education to students across India? Over to you, Doctor.
थैंक यू सर। आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि इंडिया सबसे लार्जेस्ट जो है पॉपुलेशन वाला देश है, यंग पीपल्स वाला देश है, और लार्जेस्ट सबसे ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स इसी देश में हैं, और जो शिक्षा ही एकमात्र एक साधन है जिसके द्वारा औद्योगिकरण या किसी भी क्षेत्र में विकास किया जा सकता है। एनी फील्ड, कोई भी फील्ड विदाउट एजुकेशन इम्प्रूव नहीं किया जा सकता। और जहाँ तक इंडिया में किस क्षेत्र में विकास हुआ है, तो एजुकेशन का रोल इंडिया में सबसे ज़्यादा फ्रॉम द एंशियंट इंडिया जो है प्राइवेट सेक्टर के हाथ में है, और शिक्षा जो है शुरू से ही शिक्षक के हाथ में रही है, और आज भी शिक्षा शिक्षक के हाथ में है। मोर देन 50% टू 60% प्राइवेट स्कूल जो है वो शिक्षा देने का कार्य कर रहे हैं, क्वालिटी एजुकेशन देने का कार्य कर रहे हैं। और जो सबसे बड़ा विकास इस क्षेत्र में हुआ है कि जब ब्रिटिशर्स के बाद एक रोट लर्निंग का एजुकेशन सिस्टम स्टार्ट हुआ और शिक्षा का सरकारीकरण भी स्टार्ट हुआ, लेकिन जो शिक्षा का मूल ढांचा था इंडिया का, वो निजी क्षेत्र थे। तक्षशिला, नालंदा भी इसके लिए जाना जाता है। जब वो विश्वविख्यात यूनिवर्सिटीज़ थी तो वो मूल ढांचे को वो ध्वस्त कहीं नहीं कर पाए, और जो लोगों का रुझान रहा वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर की तरफ रहा, क्योंकि प्राइवेट सेक्टर में अकाउंटेबिलिटी थी, चॉइस थी पेरेंट्स के पास। ओनली गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के पास चॉइस नहीं रहती है, तो लोग चॉइस चाहते हैं एजुकेशन में डेमोक्रेसी चाहते हैं, या कि वो अपनी मर्जी का स्कूल चुन सके। तो हिंदुस्तान उसमें एक बहुत बड़ा देश बन के निकला, और आज 50 to 60% स्टूडेंट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स में पढ़ रहे हैं। और जो चेंज सबसे बड़ा इसमें आया कि एनईपी न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के बाद रोट लर्निंग पर भी जो है, जो रोट लर्निंग की प्रवृत्ति थी उससे चेंज कर स्किल्ड एजुकेशन की तरफ लोग जो है बढ़ रहे हैं। और चॉइस बोर्ड के अंदर भी जो एजुकेशन में शिक्षा और परीक्षा दो चीज़ें हैं। परीक्षा में भी भारतीय शिक्षा बोर्ड, एक और नया बोर्ड जो है गवर्नमेंट ने उसको मान्यता दी है, और उसमें वैल्यू की, जो भारत की शिक्षा पद्धति जो वैल्यू की तरफ जा रही थी, मॉनेटराइजेशन की तरफ जा रही थी, उससे वैल्यू संस्कारों की तरफ जो है बढ़ने का भारतीय शिक्षा बोर्ड काम कर रहा है। क्योंकि शिक्षा का काम सिर्फ वैल्यू देना नहीं है, वैल्यूज देना भी है। अगर शिक्षा जो है सिर्फ वैल्यू देगी और वैल्यूज नहीं देगी तो हम एक बेटर सिटीजन नहीं बना सकते। तो इंडिया एक सबसे बड़ा ऑप्शन है। और मैं साक्षी जी, एक और प्राची जी बात कहूँ, जो बात आई मशरूमिंग की, ये मशरूमिंग नहीं है, दिस इज द चॉइस ऑफ द पब्लिक उनको चूज कर रही है, इसलिए वो मशरूम हो रहे हैं। तो मशरूम इज नॉट ए गुड वर्ड, वो पब्लिक की चॉइस है, इसलिए वो स्प्रेड कर रहे हैं, मेरा ये मानना है। तो इंडिया में प्राइवेट एजुकेशन का बहुत अच्छा स्कोप है, क्योंकि लोगों को अकाउंटेबिलिटी वहां पर दिखाई देती है, लोगों को चॉइस वहां पर दिखाई देती है, दे आर परफॉर्मिंग बेटर देन द गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर। और रोट लर्निंग से स्किल एजुकेशन की तरफ ले जाने का सबसे बड़ा काम जो है वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर, निजी सेक्टर के स्कूल कर रहे हैं।
थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर शेयरिंग दिस। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, आपके थॉट्स और इंस्पिरेशन हमें हमेशा मोटिवेट ही करते हैं। So just to translate for the larger audience, what Dr. Sharma has rightly mentioned, that India culturally has had a lot of good quality private universities, very popular universities, even in the ancient times, such as Takshila and Nalanda. Private education is something which has been a part of the Indian culture for a very, very long time. It was only post-colonization that the public education system was introduced in the country. But even then, like even today, like 50 to 60% of students still prefer going to private schools, because in India they feel that going to a private school also gives them the choice of the kind of education that they want. And in the private education space, a lot of focus has also been on going away from rote learning and focusing on skill-based training. The other thing that Dr. Sharma has rightly mentioned, that education does not only talk about the subjects or the technical knowledge, but it also talks about making a child into a better citizen, giving them value-based education. And this is where private schools have played a major role. They focus a lot on teacher training. They focus a lot on ensuring that all the new education policies and all the developments that take place in the education sectors are incorporated into the curriculum. So this is where Sir has mentioned that in India that there are a lot of private schools, and like it is people's choice to go to private schools. So thank you so much, sir, for
एक्चुअली
taking us through this.
मशरूमी के बजाय चॉइस स्प्रेड हो रही है. Mushrooming is not a right.
Correct. Yes. So according to sir, instead of using the word mushrooming, it is rather the people's choice, and it is because of the choice of the people that that private schools are growing in India. So yeah, on that note, sir, thank you so much for talking about this and taking us through. And I would like to reach out to my colleague, Mr. Richard, and talk to him and get some insights to him about the work that we are doing. So, Richard, why do Opportunity International feel education finance is important? Could you walk us through the mission of education finance and why it exists and how it is supporting the education space? Over to you, Richard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prakshi, for the opportunity and for the great job in doing the interpretation. You've done very well. So, so with Opportunity Edu Finance, our mission is very simple. Our mission is to help get more children into better and quality schools. We believe that children is very critical when it comes to education. And like my other colleagues also mentioned, Madam Aisha, all of them are into education because of the child. And with that, we also have an approach and core values that we believe in. 3 key values that with OI Edu Finance we believe in. We believe that every person and every child must have access to quality education. 2, we also believe that quality education leads to better life. And I believe that all of us on this platform, we are here one way or the other because of education. Ability to read, to write, and also interpret issues is all linked up to education. And then to the financial institutions, we also believe that responsible financing empowers people. So we believe that when financial institutions are able to support schools and parents, they are able to empower their lives. So these have been our core value. Now let's move into the big picture of this conversation, why education finance matters. From Opportunity International Edu Finance point of view, we believe that the government is really doing well when it comes to supporting education, especially in low and middle income countries. However, their system is not enough to cover the gap. So with a private school, as been mentioned by the 2 association leaders, things that they're also helping to fill the gap. We believe that in filling the gap, there is also a need in terms of their potentials that they want to be able to grow. Because right now, when you look at the demands for education, in most of the low and middle income country has really grown very, very well and is growing. And even as it stands now, we realize that currently 7 out of 10 children across the world aren't learning basic numeracy and literacy, and even how to interpret stories is even a challenge. And in this, we realize that even out of that, we have 264 million children who are currently out of school. So the gap is really wide. And to the learning where there's that challenge is also, we are talking about 353 million children that goes to school, but basic literacy and numeracy skills is still a challenge. So this brings to the conversation that yes, there's a need to fill this gap, and the private schools are doing that, but their capacity and then in terms of the potential to do that is also limited. And that is why funding is also very critical to be able to help them meet the needs of these schools. One, they want to be able to build new classrooms, they want to hire teachers, they want to provide a very sanitary and very good environment. They want to also be able to provide teaching and learning materials. But all of these need funding. And that is why we believe that school improvement loan or funding from financial institutions will be able to help them. And another interesting data that we got, we have even estimated from EduFinance that a 9.9 billion, improvement loan opportunity that exists in the market for the private schools. And that is another critical thing that shows that, yes, indeed, financing the EduFinance sector is also very important. And now let's look at the wider benefits. Looking at the wider benefits, we realize that in terms of investing in EduFinance, schools and economies are able to improve because at the end of the day, when schools have funding, they are able to employ more people, create jobs for the teacher, for the staff, and to the ecosystem. Suppliers in the school space are able to also get jobs to do, and the economy improved. And then when it comes to also management of the school and accountability, because when they have enough funds, they are able to also plan very well. They are able to get all the necessary equipment they need. And then also teacher stability becomes a very thing that they don't really struggle with, because at the end of the day, they realize that there's a stability. They're able to pay the teachers, because you bear with me, especially those in the private school space, that teachers are really not paid as expected. So when they have funds, they're able to pay them, and the teachers are also able to, stay in school and deliver quality tuition for our children. And then the wider community, there's also confidence when they have schools that are well established, schools with all the necessary infrastructure. It goes a lot to help them. Now, let me just quickly touch on briefly what we do at Opportunity EduFinance to help to unlock learning. At Opportunity EduFinance, one of the key things that we do is that we try to connect private schools to financial institutions where there's a deficit, and we help to close the gap for children in learning. We support the financial institutions who are also helping with technical assistance to design and scale education finance product that will help them. We also build school capacity for the schools to be able to be bankable and also to scale up the investment readiness of that. And just to also make it a point that at EduFinance, we are not the lenders, but we are an ecosystem builder where we make education finance work for schools, families, and banks. And just before maybe I hand over to the moderator, recently we have conducted a lot of research and data in the system. And interestingly, we realized that from what we started from just one school in Ghana in 2007, we have over 70,000 plus schools that are certain. And with this, we have been able to mobilize over 1.2 billion in loans through the financial institution partners. We have also reached over 21 plus million children that have been supported, with 201 financial institutions partnering across the 32 countries we find ourselves. And we have 884,000 and over loans that are being invested into the education space. So these are some of the things that we are doing. And we believe that with all of us on board, we'll be able to help unlock learning. Thank you very much. And over to you, MC.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, and especially our audience, this is really for you. So we would like to hear your thoughts as the discussion goes on. In the chat room, please feel free to type in any reflections, any questions, and we'll find a way, especially for questions or reflections, to get the panelists to answer. Alternatively, time allowing, we will also have a Q&A session at the end of the panelist discussion and their parting shots. So please feel free to use the chat room. Let's keep it active. Let's have questions in there, and we'll be looking at them once in a while to, relay some of these things back to the panelists so that they can address them, because this is meant for you. Thank you. So, Richard, you shared very interesting statistics about the growth from one financial institution to the many institutions that you have projected previously. one of the questions that I would like to come back to you before we go to the rest of the panelists, Opportunity International has done a couple of market researches. So based on the market research that Opportunity International has done and your professional experience, what have you seen are the greatest needs for financing of non-state schools in low to middle income countries from a global perspective? Over to you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Julius, for getting back to me. Yes, indeed, Opportunity to Finance, we have been doing quite a lot of market assessment and gathering a lot of data, because as we try to engage with all these stakeholders, data is very key. And from the data that we collected for over 10,000 plus schools across all the 12 markets that we operate, that are very interesting and a common need that is cutting across. We interact with these schools and we try to find out that in case you need a support, what will be the key thing that you use this financing for, and what is running through them. The key one stands out, and that is the infrastructure and expansion. So some of them will say that we will need loan to improve infrastructure, that building new classrooms, bathrooms, dormitory, and all of which are especially important to improve attendance and enrollment, especially for girls, sanitation. And another thing too is also to improve educational provisions, such as hiring of new teachers, reduce classroom size, purchasing of TLMs, classroom supplies, desks, computers, and then some of them are even thinking of establishing a STEM. Others are also looking at, getting a transport in terms of buying a bus that will be able to convey these, learners from one destination to where the school is, because some of them feel that the students live a bit far from where they are, but they still want to access it. So these have been some of the ways that they're looking at. And then maybe just a few also is enhancing health and safety environment. It's talking about, in addition to that, we're also talking about water, sanitation, and hygiene. Most of the deprived schools also have issues with, having gender separated washrooms. So they will say that they would want to get support to be able to have a gender separated, because I currently visited one of the schools in Northern Ghana, and we realized that when we went there to visit the school, a school owner has to tell us to wait because the headmaster has gone to the bush to go and ease herself to be able to come back. Children also have to join a queue to be able to go and come back. So we realize that these are some of the genuine needs when you go to some of the rural communities, and that is very, very critical. They may sound a bit petty, but to us, it's very, very important. And then it's something that most of these schools are looking out for. But I think that since I have most of my colleagues who are also educators in the space, especially Madam Aisha and the rest, they will be able to add more. So let me just pause here and hand over to you, Julius, to take it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. And I think to pick it up, the best person I'd like to bring to the stage now is Dr. George, because I was kind of intrigued when he said all ECD schools in Uganda are private. And then he went on to talk about the change in the curriculum and how that is affecting. So, Dr. George, let me start with you. Apart from what Richard has shared, do you feel there are any other critical challenges that you're facing in Uganda, in particularly regarding access to funding and financing of schools? Dr. George, you're welcome. Please unmute. I think your microphone is muted. Dr. George, if it was in an auction, would be saying Dr. George going one. But maybe in the interest of time, as Dr. George maybe gets his internet connectivity. Dr. Aisha, let me come to you. The challenges that Richard has mentioned, do you feel there are any that really stand out for you in your area? And are you happy to share these with us? Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Almost everything that he said resonates with us as schools. He mentioned infrastructure. He mentioned the classrooms as well, but now there's something that is happening now. Just last November 2025, the government of Ghana launched STEM boxes for the public schools. And so aside from infrastructure, and these are some of the things that we need to look at, because these STEM boxes or STEM labs are quite expensive, and private schools, most majority, especially the low fee and then the middle fee private schools, cannot afford it. And so we need to look at constructing of STEM schools to meet the current educational trends in the country. And then also one thing that also I would like to talk about, working capital. Um, this will help us know when it comes to our fee and payments. Fees come in bits, and then it's actually uneven across the term. And so it becomes difficult to run the term smoothly. But if we have working capital, schools have working capital, that will actually stabilize operations of the school to ensure that teachers are paid promptly. When teachers are paid promptly, that means that they would be retained in the school. They would like to be in the school. And also one other financial need would be about our teachers. Training our teachers, that is one. And also ensuring that they continue to the university level to have their degree programs to qualify as professional and teachers. The National Teaching Council of Ghana is asking that all our teachers go through the degree program so they can be certified as professional teachers. And most of our teachers in the private schools lack this degree. And so we need to invest in our teachers' professional growth as well. And also we need to invest in education technology. I mentioned the STEM labs, and also school management softwares will actually help our schools. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Aisha.
can I
There's
come back?
oh
Can I
yes,
come
Dr.
again?
George, you're welcome. Please come. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm back. Yeah, I want to thank the previous presenter for their findings and their research, and I'm happy that their market has shown the various needs. But in Uganda today, we have some unique challenges, and the first challenge is today government looks at private schools as competitors, yet we are service providers, we are partners. So because we are competitors, there is the way when they are constructing new schools, government puts more money and resources in putting up seed schools, for example. We plant a seed, it grows to salvage and to take over. But forgetting that the private sector that was there, which was providing support, is partially ignored and sometimes politically also ignored, but that is politics. Now, my biggest concern now today is the variance in the salary. We have issues of salary variations. For example, a science teacher in government school, secondary, earns almost $1,500. That is 4 million shillings, Ugandan shillings. And yet, it is not easy for a private school to maintain the same science teacher at that cost, given the surroundings and the environment. So, to us, that is the biggest concern that is affecting the private sector. The salaries paid by government as compared, and you find that most of our teachers, even today, I've had so many calls, people want to shift from a private school which is doing very well, but because of a good salary offered by government, someone prefers to, we are losing teachers. There's that trend of teachers to move from one school to another in search for better payment, which is a concern. So if we are to do proper planning, we need to have that one at the mind. The second biggest concern, of course, has been mentioned, that is the infrastructure. With the increasing number of schools, I mean with the increasing number of children going to school, and as I told you, all ECDs are private. So there's that competition among the private sector and government. So we find that all private schools are providing very good education, and they have good facilities, qualities. And now that we even have Ministry of Education and Sports, with the new curriculum, we are looking at sports. You know, East Africa has been known for the running, the athletics, For football, we are trying. We're even hosting AFCON. So we are trying to put emphasis on the play area. We are trying to say most schools lack the play areas, and acquiring land for the playgrounds is a bit costly. So we need to provide educational financing for the play facilities, for the games and sports. Because in education in Uganda, it is Ministry of Education and Sports. So there's no way I'm going to give you permission to operate as a private school when you lack sports facilities. And now sports facilities are paramount and necessary. Then the third one, of course, has been mentioned. That is, I like the issue of the wash, water, sanitation, and hygiene, where we have issues of sanitation, the girl child. We have a policy in Uganda. We are supporting the girl child more, and as you talk now, we have more girls at the university. We have more girls in all schools. The population of girls is more than the boys, which is unfortunate or fortunate, depending on who is making the analysis. But however, to us, that one is good. It is giving us mileage, but it has other implications. So what does that mean? It means that we need to replan. We need to have special, separate facilities for the girl child, and above all, for the special needs. In the government, it is done well, but in private schools, we rarely have special facilities for special children, for special needs, for the girl child. So that's another area of concern, where I think we need support. The last one, which is very, very important, is the IT, because the new curriculum is talking of entrepreneurship. We're talking about bringing in financial literacy. We are talking about the culture of saving, earning, and investment. Now, the financial economy, the projects, the issue of ICT, the issue of projects in schools, which require some money, is a big challenge. But in private schools, I think we need to draw programs to see how do we bring them on board, because for us, that's the way to go. Then lastly, of course, are the foreign languages, because at the end of the day, one of the reasons why we are doing very well, we are a tourist destination. Most people come from all over the world to come and visit the snow caps of mountains in Rwenzori. They come to see our animals. They come to see our green nature, the evergreen, the part of Africa. So we are trying to come up with strategies on how do we attract people to come, meaning that people must come and are able to speak the languages. So we are teaching 5 foreign languages, and these 5 foreign languages by government is okay, but the private schools don't have the teachers. So we need to come up with strategies of how do we improve on the teaching, the training of teachers, teacher trainers, the training of teachers who are going to teach the teachers, who are going to work with the children, to receive the children, the hospitality arrangement, the tourism promotion. We have so many programs that we think can help develop the economy. But I want to thank the Opportunity International for those opportunities. And my question was, where do we get this opportunity in Uganda? I'm happy that you are talking about Ghana. But in Uganda, we need to know where to go, for example, and how do we introduce these people? So thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. George. Actually, totally off script, Dr. George and Dr. Aisha, there are 2 questions I will bring back to you, time allowing, for you to clarify on. And thank you for raising that. Dr. Sharma, I know everybody's talked about the challenges. Do you have an example from India of how education finance has transformed an institution? You can share with us the challenges, but if you have an example of how education finance has transformed a school from what it was before to what it was now, would love to hear so that we can see the impact. I like the way you say your association has 1 lakh members. Now that's big. So please, Dr. Sharma, the floor is yours.
थैंक यू जूलियस आपने जो प्रश्न किया कि कैसे फाइनेंस जो है एजुकेशन को ट्रांसफॉर्म कर सकता है या करता है, इसके बहुत सारे एग्जांपल अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल भी दे सकता है कि उन्होंने बहुत सारे स्कूल्स को सपोर्ट किया फाइनेंस लेने के लिए और उन्होंने अपने स्कूल्स को एक्सपेंड किया. तो विदाउट फाइनेंस किसी भी चीज़ की एक्सपेंशन सोचना इट इज़ जस्ट इम्पॉसिबल. अगर आप इंफ्रा इम्प्रूव करना चाहते हैं, अगर आप बच्चों को क्वालिटी एजुकेशन के लिए रोबोटिक की लैब लगाना चाहते हैं, कोडिंग सिखाना चाहते हैं, ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी सिखाना चाहते हैं, एआई सिखाना चाहते हैं, तो आपको एक्सपेंशन के लिए पैसे की ज़रूरत है। और इसमें अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल बहुत सारे फाइनेंस कंपनीज के साथ मिलकर अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम भी कर रही है और लोगों को फाइनेंस भी दिला रही है, जिससे एक मरेकल हो रहा है। और विदाउट फाइनेंस आप एक्सपेंड कर ही नहीं सकते, ये तो सोचना ही एक नामुमकिन सी बात है। लेकिन मेरी एक कुछ सजेशंस होंगी। चैलेंजेस तो हमेशा रहता ही है लाइफ में। सजेशंस ये रहेंगी, जैसे अभी जॉर्ज ने भी ये बात कही कि प्लेग्राउंड्स की बात कही, ऐसे स्कूल्स को एक्सपेंड करने के लिए एक्स्ट्रा लैंड की ज़रूरत पड़ती है। हम जो प्रोडक्ट फाइनेंस कंपनीज बना रही हैं वो ज़्यादातर इंफ्रा के लिए जो है पैसा देती हैं, लेकिन अगर किसी को इस तरह का प्रोडक्ट भी आप लोगों को मिलकर बनाना चाहिए। जैसे एजुकेशन लोन बच्चे लेते हैं, जब वो पढ़कर अपना लोन खुद उसके बाद जो है वो उसको रीपे करते हैं, इस तरह का प्रोडक्ट भी बनना चाहिए कि अगर कोई स्कूल उसको लोन को लेना चाहता है अपने एक्सपेंशन के लिए, लैंड के लिए, तो उसको एक पीरियड दिया जाए कि उसको पेमेंट, जब उसका स्कूल उसको ऐसे सपोर्ट किया जाए, जब वो वाइबल हो जाएगा, प्रॉफिट की तरफ जाएगा, उसके बाद साल 2 साल के बाद वो पैसा देना शुरू करे। और उसको प्लेग्राउंड और लैंड और न्यू स्कूल के लिए भी इस तरह का प्रोडक्ट एक बने, जिससे जो है स्कूल, प्राइवेट स्कूल्स जो है एक्सपेंड हो सके। और मैं इनको प्राइवेट स्कूल नहीं, इनको सेल्फ फाइनेंस स्कूल कहता हूँ, सेल्फ फाइनेंस्ड, क्योंकि ये अपने फाइनेंस से काम कर रहे हैं। और अगर जैसे बात आई कि गवर्नमेंट जो है इनको कंपटीटर समझती है, गवर्नमेंट कंपटीटर जरूर समझती है, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट को एक बात सभी गवर्नमेंट्स को क्लियर है कि उनके पास इतना पैसा नहीं है कि वो अपने पैसे से पूरे देश के बच्चों को एजुकेट कर सकें। लेकिन वो अपने स्कूल में एनरोलमेंट बढ़ाने के लिए इस तरह की बातें करती है। उसके लिए हमें ग्लोबली सबको इकट्ठा होकर आना चाहिए। और इकट्ठा अगर हम जब होते, यूनाइट होते हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं से अपनी अपनी कंट्री को हम मिलकर, सपोज घाना से वहाँ के प्राइम मिनिस्टर यहाँ आते हैं और हम इंडियन डेलीगेशन उनको मिलता है कि आपको घाना के प्राइवेट स्कूल्स को सपोर्ट करना चाहिए, तो उसका एक बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट जाएगा। हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर अगर आपकी कंट्री में आते हैं और वहाँ एक डेलीगेशन मिलता है और वो कहता है कि आपके इंडिया के स्कूल्स बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, आप उनको सपोर्ट कीजिए, तो इंटरनेशनली भी मिलकर हम सपोर्ट का एक एनवायरनमेंट तैयार कर सकते हैं। और मिलकर सेल्फ फाइनेंस स्कूल जो गवर्नमेंट को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और गवर्नमेंट का जो है कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर काम कर रहे हैं, देश के बच्चों को क्वालिटी एजुकेशन दे रहे हैं, उस पर मिलकर मदद कर सकते हैं। और इन सारे कामों के लिए अगर सब मिलकर काम करते हैं तो नीसा आपको अपनी तरफ से ऑफर करता है कि अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल एक यहाँ पर कोई अगर इवेंट करना चाहती है, एक कोई मीटिंग करना चाहती है, तो नीसा उसके लिए सबसे पहले ऑफर करता है कि हमें सबको मिलकर आना चाहिए। जब हम मिलकर काम करेंगे तो एक दूसरे की बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस भी जो है जब शेयर होंगी, तो बहुत सारी क्वालिटी इंप्रूवमेंट करने के लिए हमें इन बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस से एक दूसरे के ही हम मिलकर जो है एक दूसरे के टीचर्स को हम इनवाइट कर सकते हैं, जिससे एक दूसरे के टीचर्स आकर एक दूसरे की बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस देखें और टीचर भी अपग्रेड हो सके। तो इस तरह के बहुत सारे काम करके, चैलेंजेस तो हमेशा होते हैं और रहने भी चाहिए। विदाउट चैलेंजेस जो है एजुकेटर की लाइफ कंप्लीट नहीं मानी जाती। तो एजुकेटर जो है चैलेंजेस को ही ओवरकम करने वाला एक सेक्टर है, तो हम इसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं। लेकिन हमें मिलकर यूनाइट होकर और अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल के साथ भी मिलकर एक जनरल अवेयरनेस भी करनी चाहिए। लोगों को यही नहीं पता कि फाइनेंस कहाँ कहाँ से मिलता है, फाइनेंस लेने के लिए किस प्रकार से काम करने हैं, किस प्रकार अपना अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम करना है जिससे उसको फाइनेंस लेने में दिक्कत ना आए। तो इस पे अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहा है। तो हमें ग्लोबली मिलकर, अपनी कंट्री में तो काम करना है, ग्लोबली भी मिलकर काम करना चाहिए, जिससे सेल्फ फाइनेंस सेक्टर और जो बच्चे जिन स्कूल्स को पसंद करते हैं, जो उनकी चॉइस है, उसमें बेटर एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट किया जा सके, बेटर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, बेटर क्वालिटी, और उनकी चॉइस को और मजबूत किया जा सके। इस तरह का मिलकर हमें काम करना चाहिए।
थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर योर काइंड वर्ड्स। एंड आपने इतने सारी चीजों के बारे में बात की। चैलेंजेस आपने बहुत सही बोला कि चैलेंजेस तो हर सेक्टर में रहती है और उस चैलेंजेस को हम ओवरकम कैसे करते हैं, यही एक एजुकेशन का बहुत बड़ा रोल है। सो आई मीन आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी 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 नोबल कॉज। I will just translate and share your thoughts with the rest of the team members. So I would like to say that, Dr. Sharma has first of all mentioned very openly that he has seen miracles when financing has been provided to private schools, and he has mentioned that instead of calling them as just private schools, he would say that they are actually self-financed schools. So many of these schools, as he rightly said, and I think other panelists would also agree, that many of these schools which start at a very smaller scale, they are generally born out of passion, like Dr. Aisha had also mentioned. They are generally born out of passion, self-financed, using their own money has been put into this to start the school. But he says that access to finance is something which is extremely important, because without finance, obviously you cannot grow the infrastructure, you cannot grow and scale your schools, you cannot reach out to more number of people unless and until there is finance. And he has mentioned that he has himself, like in the last few years, seen schools grow and develop where they have been able to access finance from the right financial institutions, and it has given them a lot of support. The second aspect, the second part of the conversation, which Dr. Sharma had mentioned, was that he has kindly invited the global SLA team, Opportunity International team, and also members from other schools across the globe to visit India and to work in collaboration, where we can learn from each other some of the best practices, etc., that we can learn from each other in helping these schools to grow and to flourish. He also mentioned that challenges are definitely there in each and every sector, but it is the role of education which enables people to overcome challenges. So I think like that's a very noble cause that he has mentioned, and very kindly sir has underlined the role that Opportunity International has been playing and will play in the future in creating financial awareness among school owners, and also providing them with a platform to be able to access the right kind of finances and plan around growth. So thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and for your insights. I would like to take this further now. And my next question would be to Dr. Aisha. Dr. Aisha, if you can just throw some light on, taking this conversation further around financial products. We did speak about a lot of challenges that schools face in accessing finance. So where do you think these traditional financial products fall short for education providers? Thank you, Dr. Aisha.
Thank you so much. And I would like to thank Dr. Sharma for asking for collaboration between the countries. And I'm very grateful. I welcome that invitation, and we'll be reaching out through Opportunity International to him so we can have some collaboration and partnership as we go along. Thank you so much. Yes, and so when it comes to Ghana, our major challenges when it comes to assessing financial support, the first and foremost is the high interest rate, as high as 36%, which is killing. The next one is the short repayment terms. These are schools, and it takes long term for us to have our returns. And so, if you are giving us maximum 24 months to pay our loans, that is too short, and it's a challenge to us. The next one is a strict collateral requirement that many schools cannot meet. For some of the schools, they are leasing the lands, they are renting, and it's difficult for them to meet those collateral requirements. And for some of us, if the institutions like Opportunity International will engage some of the schools on one-on-one basis so that they can tailor products to suit these schools. And for all you know, most of these schools, they do not even need the funds to start with. They need strong school governance structures. They need good record keeping. They need financial discipline. Some schools might even think they need a financials to start with. But when you get the expertise in there, you get OI in there to sit with them, they could even advise that, like, no, you do not need the finance to start with, but we need to structure things properly. And also, one challenge that we do not have anything for teachers where teachers will have access to funding or support to improve themselves. That is professional growth, which is very important. And for private schools, our fees are not that much, so it's quite difficult to support these teachers to continue their education. And that makes it difficult for us to retain our teachers in the schools as well. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aisha. And I think like this is very true. Like I really like the points that you have brought up about the startup finance that was needed. Dr. Sharma had also mentioned that if financial products could be designed around buying land, because in India we do not have any financial products for schools to be able to access buy new land for expansion, as you have mentioned about financial products around start supporting schools who are at the starting level. So thank you so much for bringing these insights. And I would also like to thank you for like accepting Mr. Sharma's invite for collaboration. I think together opportunity also looks at like how we can provide a platform for networking and sharing of best practices. So thank you so much. So now that we have heard from panelists around the challenges and how financing plays such a major role in improving the state of private schools, I would like to now reach out to my colleague Richard and talk to him about what does the data that we have say about these challenges that schools are facing, and what kind of role does technical assistance play in ensuring that financial institutions have well matched products and they are meeting the needs of the schools that we serve. Over to you, Richard. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Praxi, for coordinating this round. I think it's been an insightful one. And Dr. Aisha, thank you. I think most of the things or the challenges has already been outlined from your side. And just maybe to add a little to it, like I said, we always speak to data or engage with the schools to really understand what are some of their challenges in terms of assessing finance. And from what we gathered, some of them have been touched by Dr. Aisha. So maybe just not to spend so much time on that. But key ones that I have also want to highlight, it's also about the lack of knowledge when it comes to the bookkeeping and also about the loan products that financial institutions also have, and even how to go about it. Because when you engage them, you realize that most of them are saying that I don't even have knowledge about what is the processes that financial institutions go through to be able to help it. How do I even apply for loan? What is it about their loan product? How is the repayment done? Features. So they try to ask a lot of questions in the line where it's having a challenge. And another critical challenge that based on our conversations with the schools, we also realize is the bookkeeping or the record keeping. So they don't even have records for the financial institutions to be able to, based on that, to be able to help them or understand their cash flow to be able to help them. We also realize that some of these schools don't have separate bank accounts in the name of the school. So we realize that one school owner who is the CEO, who is the headmaster, he's the driver, he's the security. The same school owner is also the caterer. And sometimes they even hold access to the key to the school. So the days that the school owner is ill, the school is also ill. When he travels, the school also travels. So you realize that schools is always revolving around them. So they don't even have one separate account in the name of the school. So the entity concept is always a challenge. And we realize that that has also been a bottleneck for most of the financial institutions in trying to help them. Amidst the insufficient cash flow from the schools, the collateral, which has also become a challenge, because most of the times when they want to assess from the financial institution, they're asking of how can we secure the loans, because the loans from the financial institution is also not for them. It also belongs to the public funds that they are also turning around. So this has been some of the challenges in addition to what these school leaders has also mentioned. From Opportunity Edu Finance, we also do some of the things to be able to help schools and also with financial institutions to be able to address some of these challenges. One of the things that we do is that we try to conduct a lot of market assessment or market research to gather enough knowledge for both financial institutions to understand the needs that exist and also the market potential what they would want to take the loan for. We also go ahead after gathering the data. We help financial institutions to design a tailored financial product, like the way Madam Dr. Aisha was talking about, that they really want financial institutions to sit down with the school to understand the needs so that they can address it. Yes, this is one of the things that we have been doing to support the financial institutions. So we also conduct market assessment, and from that, we design tailored, financial products, especially education field, to help them. We also build the capacity of the financial institutions so that at the end of the day, they'll be able to understand the schools and deliver tailored financial service to them. And then when it comes to assessing the schools, they're able to do that. We also help the schools, we help financial institutions by bringing the gap, helping them to be closer to the schools, and then to be able to do that. And maybe the last thing that Madam Aisha was also talking about, the capacity building. We train them, we build the capacity of the school so that they will be investment ready, so that the financial institutions can help them. So in addition to the challenges, these are some of the things that at Opportunity Edu Finance, we are trying to also help to support the stakeholders in trying to address these challenges. So thank you, Prakshi. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ritan, for taking us through the data. I really like how, the voices from the field are being complementing by the data and the trends that we see at Opportunity. So in the interest of time, let's move forward. And I see that there are a lot of questions on the chat box also. And I think my colleague Julius has also been working on a list of questions. So over to you, Julius, if we can open up the floor for questions from the audience and you can moderate it through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prakshi. And we have quite a number of questions, and I promised Dr. Aisha and Dr. George I'd ask them direct questions to kick us off, and we shall have maybe one or two for everybody. Dr. Aisha, let me start with you, Dr. George. In your presentation, you mentioned competition between government and private schools, and you've seen the comments people have made around the cost. Now, with all that cost that proprietors need to put in, and now you're talking about languages, it becomes an additional cost. Where is the balance? That is for you, Doctor. I don't know if you can answer that now. Or do you feel it is something that could break the schools even more? Dr. George.
Yeah, yes, please. I want to thank very much for that question. Actually, our concerns actually is that, as I told you earlier, that we are now in the, education is universal and is international now. And as we talk now, you see it is survival for the fittest. So the private schools have shown government, actually, when the results come out, for example, recently we released the exams for primary 7, and all in the districts I visited recently, all the best performing schools are private schools. Now, what does this mean? That private schools are attracting more parents to bring their children to those schools vis-a-vis government. Yet, government pays more money, it pays their people on time, and yet private schools don't have enough money. That's why we have the challenge. However, to us as private schools, as managers of private education in Uganda, we are saying the struggle continues. We must continue with this. We have had several. Actually, I want to thank, first of all, Dr. Sharma for the invitation. We need to benchmark the good practices in India and Ghana. Personally, I was in Ghana. I was also in India, but I did not visit the private schools. I was doing some other good work. We visited the NAT. Is it the NAT? It was Teachers' Day, and I was invited as a guest of honor. So, but that was now for the teachers. But now I want to be invited for the private schools, and so that I can have an opportunity to share and see what is it that they are doing very well that we cannot do. What is it that we can learn from them? Because at the end of the day, we have the same environment. I want to thank the people who are asking about because to us, the private sector is leading. But the numbers, of course, we have more children in government schools because of the fact that they are almost cheaper or free education. We call it free education, which is not free, because at the end of the day, they have to provide some basics. Government only provides the tuition, which is not enough to sustain the child in school. Yet in private schools, we are able to receive the little money we receive, and we are able to continue giving education that is worth and that is affordable. So I want to conclude my remarks by saying, one, as a private schools, we still have those challenges. I'm happy that my colleague doctor from Ghana mentioned the basic challenges of access, of loans, and because our banks are commercial, they treat us as commercial banks, and therefore they believe that as a school is looking for is business oriented. So yet the schools, we have those issues. If you are doing up infrastructure, which requires 5 to 10 years, for them they want you to pay within 1 or 2 years. It becomes a challenge, and yet you must pay in order to get another loan. Then the other issue, of course, has been my biggest concern is the training, the skills. We have not talked about the training of the teachers. In Uganda, it's the issue of training for the government. And therefore, all the teachers we have in private schools were once trained by government. It is only in the ECD that we are now trying to say, can we have ECD training centers? And that is what government is trying to support. But again, we are still lacking some challenge. I think we need to be guided on those areas. And lastly, I want to thank the opportunity that I was being given by members to also to be part of this webinar. And to me, as government, I mean, as Minister of as Uganda, we are planning. I think we are going to plan for an international conference. We normally have one for all principals and the proprietors and owners of private schools and institutions. We have had 2 so far, every end of year in December, but December is a bit funny because of the timing, and we are thinking of having one in July or August. That's normally when we have our second term holiday, and that's when people can travel. And it's summer for some of you who are out of the country, but Uganda is always hot and wet, so we need to attract our private partners, countrywide, Africa-wise, even in the sub-region, so that we meet and share some of these concerns and have deliberations and come up with outstanding recommendations for all. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. George. Thank you very much. Dr. Sharma, so you have many members and it's very quite amazing. How do you go about formalizing national level associations for affordable fee schools? Because I know in many other jurisdictions you have competing different associations. How do you manage to formalize this in India? It would be nice to hear you, sir. Thank you very much.
Very right. सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको डेटा बताना चाहता हूँ कि इन इंडिया 70% schools are charging 1,000 per month per party and government is spending more than 6 times. हमारे से 6 गुना ज़्यादा जो है वो कर रहे हैं, खर्च कर रहे हैं. और सबसे पहले हम दूसरी बात भी ये कहना चाहूँगा, वी आर नॉट कंपिटिटर्स. हमारा गवर्नमेंट से कोई कंपटीशन ही नहीं है. गवर्नमेंट इज़ प्रोवाइडिंग फ्री एजुकेशन बट दिस इज़ नॉट फ्री. वो हमारे से जो टैक्सेस लेती है उससे 6-7 गुना ज़्यादा खर्च कर रही है और पब्लिक को कहती है वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग फ्री एजुकेशन, और हम पब्लिक से डायरेक्ट पैसा ले रहे हैं. अब पब्लिक हमें पसंद कर रही है और हमारे पास आ रही है, तो कंपटीशन का तो पहले सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता. तो हम उनके कंपटीटर कहीं भी नहीं, हम बहुत आगे हैं क्योंकि पब्लिक हमें पसंद कर रही है और पैसा भी दे रही है. और दूसरा, कैसे इनको हमने सबको इकट्ठा किया, दैट इज़ द जर्नी ऑफ माइन के मैंने 25 साल अपना घर छोड़कर इन सभी स्कूल्स को, बिकॉज स्कूल्स अलग अलग एरिया में चल रहे थे, यूनाइटेड नहीं थे, सबको जाकर हमने बात की कि हमें इकट्ठा होके आना होगा. अगर अपनी वॉइस जो है, हम इनको बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल कहते हैं, जो लोगों के बजट के अकॉर्डिंग जो है उनको शिक्षा देते. तो हमने एक कैटेगरी बनाई कि ये बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल हैं, क्योंकि जो गवर्नमेंट के रूल्स हैं वो सभी सेल्फ फाइनेंस स्कूल के लिए एक ही नियम है, चाहे कोई कम फीस ले रहा है कोई ज़्यादा फीस ले रहा है. तो हमने उन सबको ये बात बताई कि हमें इकट्ठा आना होगा, एक वॉइस क्रिएट करनी होगी ताकि आपको जस्टिस मिल सके और आप एक्सपेंड हो सके. और दूसरा, मैंने जैसे अभी निमंत्रण भी दिया, तो मैंने एक और मेरे मन में विचार आया कि प्राची अगर अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल ये इनिशिएटिव लेती है, तो मैंने पहले कहा कि इंडिया पहला कंट्री होगा कि जो सबको जो है अपने बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स को विजिट कराएगा और बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस के थ्रू जो है हम आगे बढ़ेंगे. और ये डेलीगेशन अगर आपकी तरफ से हो और उसके बाद डेलीगेशन की तरफ से कि रिपोर्ट बने और वो उस कंट्री के एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर या प्राइम मिनिस्टर को वो डेलीगेशन दे। इस तरह का अगर सिस्टम हम डेवलप करेंगे तो हम जो अपने बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल जो इन द होल वर्ल्ड चल रहे हैं, उनको कहीं ना कहीं उनके चैलेंजेस को ओवरकम कराने में हम मदद करेंगे, और ये समझाने में भी हम कामयाब होंगे कि वी आर नॉट कंपिटिटर, वी आर सपोर्टर। अगर हम लोग एजुकेशन नहीं देंगे तो गवर्नमेंट किसी भी कैपेसिटी में इतना बजट किसी भी कंट्री की गवर्नमेंट जो है वो स्पेंड नहीं कर सकती, लेकिन हमें कंपिटिटर कहा जा रहा है। तो हमें ये बताना होगा हम बजट प्राइवेट स्कूल्स हैं, हम सेल्फ फाइनेंस स्कूल्स हैं, वी आर द सपोर्टर, वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग क्वालिटी एजुकेशन द स्टूडेंट, वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग द चॉइस टू द स्टूडेंट्स। तो ये सारा जो काम स्कूल्स कर रहे हैं ये एक नीड ऑफ द आवर है, और इसके बगैर ना ग्लोबली कहीं पर भी एजुकेशन में वो नई रेवोल्यूशन नहीं लाई जा सकती। और विदाउट एजुकेशन पूरे वर्ल्ड को ना पीसफुल किया जा सकता है और ना बेटर किया जा सकता है। तो एजुकेशन इज़ द ओनली टूल जिससे पूरे यूनिवर्स में पीस भी लाया जा सकता है, पूरे यूनिवर्स के लोगों को जो है अच्छा सिटीजन भी बनाया जा सकता है। तो मेरा अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल को रहेगा, और इंडिया सबसे पहले इसके लिए इनिशिएटिव हिस्सा लेने को तैयार है कि अगर एक डेलीगेशन आए प्रॉपर पूरा, और अपॉर्चुनिटी इंटरनेशनल उसको हेड करे उस पूरे प्रोग्राम को करने के लिए, और फिर उसके बाद एक रिपोर्ट जनरेट की जाए कि इनका क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है, क्या रोल है, कितना अच्छा ये परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, इनकी नीड क्या है, और जो उसके साथ फाइनेंशियल नीड भी सारी कंट्रीज को बताई जाए कि इनकी जो फीस में बहुत सारे इनके चैलेंजेस भी हैं। मैंने कहा चैलेंजेस को एजुकेटर जो है उसको ओवरकम कर लेंगे, लेकिन सरकार का माइंडसेट सेट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो अगर ग्लोबली हम इस तरीके से कुछ प्रोग्राम्स करेंगे, और जो डेलीगेशन आपकी तरफ से 8-10 कंट्रीज का आता है, और वो हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर को या एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर को जाकर फिर रिप्रेजेंटेशन देता है, जैसे इंडिया और दूसरी कंट्रीज जाती हैं, वो घाना और युगांडा में रिप्रेजेंटेशन देती है, तो एक बहुत बड़ा चेंज जो हम ला सकते हैं, और बच्चों को चॉइस और बेटर एजुकेशन देने में, और फाइनेंस के लिए नए नए जो प्रोडक्ट्स की बात सभी की चली, नए नए प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने में भी हम हेल्पफुल हो सकते हैं।
Thank you so much, sir. Very innovative and future-forward thoughts, and thank you for sharing this. So, for the convenience of everyone, I would be translating this. So, sir has mentioned two things. The first thing that he has mentioned that among 70% of the budget private schools in India, they charge less than 1,000 rupees, which is around $11 per month, and this kind of money is much lesser than the amount of money that the government spends on public education. So he has mentioned that it is like the government, when it provides public education, free public education, it is actually coming from the taxpayers' money, whereas affordable private schools are providing it directly from the public itself, and they're very honest about it and transparent about it. On the next part that he mentioned was like that addressed your question, Julius, where you asked him what his journey has been and how he has been able to mobilize 1 lakh plus schools across the country under one hat. So he mentioned that 25 years of his life, of his career, he has dedicated traveling across the country, meeting with budget private schools, talking to them, trying to understand their issues, and providing them with innovative solutions, which has helped him to set up this very, very powerful association called as NISA, and that has helped him in mobilizing and bringing all the schools together under a big umbrella. So, sir, I mean, hats off to you. It's a huge, huge work that you have done. The last thing that sir mentioned was he's seeking some support from Opportunity International, where we can do a study and create like a evidence-based report on the role that budget private schools play, not only in India but across the globe, which can then help in mobilizing the government to support us more. So on that note, sir, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your innovative thoughts and very inspirational ideas. And Julius, I would hand over to you for the last question to our panelist member. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Sharma. Very, very insightful. Dr. Aisha, we had a question here from a Memphiman, and I believe it's also in Ghana. One of the things they raised is they would love to lend to teachers, but there's a high attrition rate, and the schools are not willing to guarantee for teachers when they leave. So as we look to access education finance, how do schools, and maybe in your experience, what are some of the things you do to maintain your teaching staff so you can be more attractive to the financial institutions? Dr. Aisha.
Yes, thank you. Um, it is quite true and rather unfortunate that we have high teacher attrition rates in our schools. And one, it's due to salaries payments. Um, the salaries paid to our teachers are not enough, so they continuously look for where next to go to. Like my colleague from Uganda, Dr. George, mentioned, private schools are doing very well when it comes to learning outcomes. It comes to our BEC results. We are doing very well, better than the public schools. However, the public school teachers take better salaries than we do. And so that's teachers all the time are looking for ways and means to get better salaries. But for me as a school, it has been one paying for their trainings to start with. Before then, we're just paying for their trainings, and then we increase salaries based on merit and your work you put in as a teacher. Also, what we do is that we bond these teachers as schools. Um, some would definitely go. It's a human institution, and so some would definitely go. Remember, some are even looking for greener pastures, and they want to travel outside to Europe and to China to even teach there. And so you can do all you can, they'll still go. But then we do the best we can. The first thing is to pay for their trainings. As a school, for the past 5 years, we've been supporting our committed teachers, those who have been with us for 5 years or more, to be trained as professional teachers in our universities. And we intend to pay them same salaries as the government or the public schools do, because once they finish the universities, they go back to the public schools to do their national service, and they intend to stay there. And so the only way you can make them stay in your school is for you to pay them the same salaries that the government is paying the public sector. And then also another major problem of teachers is accommodation. And so if you are able to sponsor their accommodation for 2 years, for 3 years, you know that at least for 2 or 3 years, you have these teachers staying with you. So what we basically do as a school, my school, for instance, is to support them in the payment of their training workshops, and then also support them in their professional um, 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 their professional schooling in the universities, and then also help them with accommodation. But that, of course, cannot happen in all the private schools, especially with low fee and the middle fee private schools. It will be very difficult for school owners to do such to their teachers. And then so we still will invite Opportunity International. There's more that we can do together. They are doing a lot, especially for Ghana, Greater Accra. We just finished training of our proprietors in about 13 centers across Greater Accra region. It went well. Feedback coming from the ground is very good. However, another thing that we would like to push for or ask for is impact tracking. How do we track these schools within the communities? Because from where I see it, if these schools are financially disciplined, a lot of things will fall in place, no matter how small their incomes may be. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. In the interest of time, we have one video we would like to share with you, and it's from Ghana. And this is one of the outcomes that we have seen by some of the things that financing schools has done. So please watch this video.
For sharing that wonderful video and for ending the. We have come towards the end of the towards the end of the webinar now, and we are ending it on such a positive note. I would like to quickly hand over to my colleague Brian to do the closing. Thank you. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you so much, Prachi, and thank you so much as well, Julius, our moderators, for the very good job you did, but also the panelists for the very wonderful job as well. I've heard that more collaboration are going to happen, which is very interesting, and that's one of the impact that we really looking forward to see. So now, as we are end of the webinar, we would like everyone who have joined to help us filling out the form, the survey form. We would really like to hear your feedback to do better on the coming webinars. So please scan the QR code that you're seeing on the screen. And also, if possible, if happens, so click the link I shared on the chat box as well. So let's fill this, and I hope we can see you all in the next coming one. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much.